Hello and welcome all to week 6 of MPA 540, Public Personnel Management. My name is Greg Zarko and this is my presentation for the week. A quick overview of this week's lesson. This week we will be discussing the Hatch Act and what it is and what it does. And also I will be inputting my opinion on whether I think it's important and whether or not I support the Hatch Act. The Hatch Act was an act that passed in 1939, and at its core, it's an act that restricts political expression that would otherwise be covered in the First Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. Prior to the Hatch Act, public employees would campaign and raise money for politicians and would sway or bribe private citizens to vote a certain way. Um, After an investigation, Senator Carl Hatch from New Mexico proposed that an act that would allow public employees to work in a that bipartisan approach. I mean, they wouldn't have any kind of political opinion to their duties. Another benefit for the Hatch Act was that it prevented public employees from being pressured to act a certain way or to perform certain duties, depending on what political party was in power or is in power. A year later, an amendment was added that extended the Hatch Act to state and local government employees, but only to those whose positions were federally funded. Um, The penalties for violating the Hatch Act were a $1,000 civil fine and the removal from the position that they hold for up to 5 years. In 2012, President Obama and Congress then passed the Hatch Act Modification Act, which allowed state and local government employees to run for political office with some restrictions, like they couldn't use the federal funds. They couldn't use federal funds to promote their candidacy. So in my opinion, was the Hatch Act needed or is it still needed? I am at this time, with the information that I have, I do believe that the Hatch Act was needed and is still needed because a public employee should be able to do their job without having to worry about offending their bosses or without having to feel pressured from their boss to perform a certain way or to favor certain people, depending on their political beliefs or agenda. And then for the public, it's important for them to feel like they are getting a fair and equal treatment, regarding where their political beliefs fall under. So, so I think it's needed. Maybe it needs to have some teeth in the act. That way, can definitely put a little more fear into people who might be thinking of violating it. That's probably the only thing that I would add to it at the moment. Well, that concludes my presentation for the week. Thank you very much for listening. Happy Easter. Be safe and enjoy the rest of your weekend.